Okay, hello. How are you guys? So she was supposed to come up and tell you that I am louder than I should and younger than I look. But she got overly excited, so she botched it up a little bit. Okay, so I've got 10 minutes and I'll take less than that. Somebody's helping me with the slides, right? All right, here we go. It's supposed to have two sides to it. I think you're gonna press something. I can control. Can I? So please feel free to jump in, interrupt, interject as you wish, because I don't really have much to say. All right. So says the lawyer before he goes in and makes a 3-hour presentation. Your church service today, Koya. Okay. Crisis proof your business, lessons we learned from COVID. Yeah, so disclaimer, we start always with a disclaimer because it's a lawyer's bad habit, right? We start by saying this is what I'm not responsible for, right? So first of all, we are not business experts. I'm not a business expert. I have not gone to business school. I have not learned the theories. I am not super successful, right? So just a mere sharing of a journey that we took together, a bit of a transformation that we took through the COVID process. That is just about it. All right, so here's our COVID-19 story. So before 2020, here was I was a sole proprietor. I had 3 lawyers assisting me. So we're a little small setup, having a little easy-going time by ourselves. My current partner, Dato' Chong Longman, Chong was also a sole proprietor. He does a lot of boardroom tussles. He also had 3 associates with him. So we were kind of comfortable in our own areas of practice. And then suddenly 18 March 2020 happened. So I think it affected you guys here as well. You guys opened up about a few weeks before 18 March 2020. Well, we were going on nicely, but then of course our very far-sighted government announced it on a Thursday or Friday and said Monday is going to be full lockdown. Like, duh. Right? I mean, we were so unprepared, right? The Ukrainians had more time to prepare for the Russian invasion than we did for the full lockdown because we had like 1 weekend, right? The Ukrainians build up. US intelligence saying for so many months they're going to attack, and we had it in over a weekend. So full lockdown. Alamak. So here it is, lockdown day 0. Guess what? All our documents were in physical files, right? So they said, Kheng, you can work from home and all that. Rubbish lah. We couldn't work from home lah. All the documents were in physical files. We spent the last day not transporting files but buying Maggi Mee and toilet paper, right? Who was transporting files at that time, right? You're buying Maggi Mee, toilet paper. We will never live through the emergency, World War II lah, whatever. Even though I look like that, I promise you I did not live through World War II. All right? So the docs were in the physical files. We did not have time to transport the files, so we couldn't either because, you know, our files were so huge, like humongous things, right? One file would have taken half a room, so we couldn't. We had cloud computing, like champion lah. We say we got cloud computing, but guess what? Sporadic use, right? Because nobody regulated anybody's use of cloud computing, right? My lawyers kept their file in their computer as they wish, in the cloud as they wish, in whatever thumb drive or disk drive as they wish, files uploaded at their whim and fancy. So basically at lockdown day 0, business came to a total standstill. Everything, and we understood what it meant to panic. Total panic mode, right? So that's where we were. So these were immediate decisions that I made. With a full lockdown at first MCO, with 0 income, the first thing I said was all suppliers are going to be paid. All employees are going to be paid on time. There is no employee who's going to be dismissed, which was very bad luck for us because there were a few we already targeted. But saved by the virus. So we had already planned all these few people, yeah, we got to get rid of them, but we couldn't once the lockdown came in because, I mean, you get rid of them, what are they going to do, right? And so at the back of the mind, it's like, hey, you're going to pay your workers their wages promptly because they are poor and they're counting on it. Okay, my workers are not so poor. I pay them way above minimum wage and all that, but the fact is, this was the reality we had to face the minute day 0 came. And And I mean, there were years of plenty, and so now there are years of few. Then we got to take whatever we had from years of plenty and pay up our dues lah, right? What to do? And the fact is, I took out loans on 3 properties to make sure that I survived the time, because it was totally zero income, right? And the battery decided to die on me. Point there. Cannot lah, no light already lah, brother, no light already. So in the meantime, while I was panicking, Chong also had some. He was not panicking, but he had some visions of his own, because lockdown kind of forces you to think of what is more important in life, right? So then we sat down for some merger talks, because the MCO showed that we were both quite vulnerable as sole proprietors. We spoke for 30 minutes to decide on the merger. The execution took months, but the discussion was 30 minutes. Late at night one day, he came over to my house, had a cup of coffee. Over 30 minutes, we said, okay, done deal. We're going to do this. The execution was a bit more headache than the decision. The official merger happened in September 2020. It was another 6 months before we even moved in together into the office. That's longer than some relationships. But but anyway, yeah. So here we go. And let's, oh, thank you, sir. And so we survived that. Today we've got 12 lawyers in our stable. We go through 2 recruitment sessions per year. We gave people a total choice of work from home or work from office. In fact, we've got 2 senior lawyers now, ladies who are choosing to work from home entirely full-time due to their family. Our partners are mostly not in the office. We are 100% online. There's no more sporadic cloud computing issues. All our documents are on cloud. Every file is tracked by software. And that transformation took us to a point where we actually tripled our revenue and profits. So that was a pain at the time. It was a panic at the time, but yes, I know. Wrong crowd. So these are some of the lessons we learned. One of the things, of course, we were very concerned about money, right? As we went through, so we talk about the money machine. See, MCO took away all networking, all entertainment. Lawyers, how do you market, right? All lawyers, they're always at a pub all the time because they are entertaining, they're networking with people. It took away all of that. You wanted to give talks. I used to give a lot of talks before MCO, but when MCO came, I stopped giving talks because everybody in town was giving talks. And the reason why everybody in town was giving talks was because everybody was panicking, And the problem when you panic is you cannot be still and rest because your mind is not at rest, right? Your heart is troubled. And when you are panicking, what you feel is that, hey, I just need to do something lah. So talk to a computer screen also better than not doing anything at all, right? So everybody was giving talks. So when everybody was giving talks, then okay lah, my value of my talks also turun lah, the turun value turun pangkat a bit. So I said, okay lah, never mind lah, your talk lah, I don't need to talk, right? So I pulled away from that. So we had to focus on existing clients only, because you want to get new clients. How? Everybody is locked up in their house, right? There's no effective way to reach new clients. We got a few introductions, that's it. And we just serviced each client, and seriously, they didn't pay us. They didn't pay us for longest time, because they also want to preserve their cash, right? They also takut want to pay you, right? And after all, what are you going to do, right? Sue them. The courts also closed, right? So you can't do anything, right? So we focused on it. And the fact is, we managed to pull it around after the MCO. We continue on the same track. There is no networking. I have very minimal networking. I have one group of networking fellows that I join with, but there's more like friends. Very rare entertainment sessions, very minimal social media, pure relationship building with existing clientele. So that was how the money machine was transformed for us, at least. People management. It's very difficult to get people to work in a focused and productive manner when they are very concerned about a lot of other things, right? They're concerned about their livelihood, they're concerned about their health, they're concerned about their old mother who's caught at home, they're concerned about their babies, right? There's so many uncertainties. So one of the things is that I learned, right? Ask not at first what your people can do for you, but ask what you can do for your people. Of course, we want them to do things for us, but later on, we kind of got to take care of them first, right? So you're going to trust them, right? You're going to delegate to them. You know, work hours, you can't say, hey, here's a piece of work, I need it done, right? Here's a piece of work, and I'm going to trust you that you're going to get it done in your time because you've got a screaming baby at home. You can't get it done immediately, right? So the trust has to be built. The delegation has to come in properly. And I tell you, there's a pain for me because I'm a control freak, right? Creating work teams and staying out of the way. That's the most difficult, right? That's the most difficult. The most difficult thing is to stop activity, to stay out of the way and say, hey, okay, relax. Things are the world is not going to crash just because I'm not in it. To take myself out of the equation, right? So we increase the remuneration for people. We increase our expectations of them. And we told them, one of the things that I did to take myself out of the equation is that we say, this is how you're going to be assessed. Objective assessment through data that you also can access. So then if eventually I don't like the fellow and I want to circumvent, I want to circumvent it and I don't want to reward the person according to the objective assessment, then it becomes an issue of integrity for me, right? Because I already said it, I declared it already. So it becomes my integrity issue. So, got to jaga muka sikit lah, right? So got to die, you know, grit your teeth and bear with it. And we started setting up things, right? We put in the hardware, we put in the software, we invested in it. So from a traditional setup, we became 100% capable of work from home. So as of today, we really can work from home. We still got a lot of office space, but you know, eventually I think it's going to save us a lot of money because we can actually get rid of office space, you know. And then lawyers, like, you got to tayang a bit, your office space got to be cantik a bit, so it's a bit more expensive. So I think we can cut down a lot of those things, right? Doing just the absolutely necessary. Essentialism, we thought of lean processes, we created checklists. You know, the thing is, we always like to bluff ourselves that we are very important. We say, oh, the work I do is so complicated. But you see, we've got an ONG fellow here. He also got checklists, right? You must do what? You know, wash hand first, wear mask, right? So everybody has a checklist, right? Even the pilots, right, running a plane got a checklist, right? So we started creating checklists and we started becoming very much less competitive, very more collaborative. So I find that I don't need to hire, I don't need to control. I can just work with people, you know, don't need to think so long, you know, just, okay, the task at hand, let's collaborate on it, you know. So you've heard of the Great Resignation. So everybody is supposed to be leaving. But actually, it's just a matter of change priorities, I think, because employees start putting first things first. Employees started putting first things first because they started realizing what's more important to them. And whoever is a boss here, whether big business, small business, the big revelation to us is we are not so important after all in our employees' life, right? They've got more important things in their life, right? We are there just to play a role on it. And so we got to help them to put first things first. So one of the things that happened was that, you know, I had an employee who took about 5 months maternity, right? So they took about 5 months off for maternity, and yet she ended up as the most highly rewarded employee at the end of the day. Because we want to start saying, hey, I'm not gonna worry about you taking maternity or you going off a lot. There's a new social contract at work. You know, last time I always like, and you as bosses, we think that we are very kind of, we say we got a family culture. You know, the worst things happen in the family, right? Family is where all the rubbish things happen. You got to pick up the nonsense, you know, you got to deal with all the problems. So when you say family culture, sometimes it creates a wrong impression. They say, yeah, this boss wants to just bully me. Family culture means that I got to answer him over weekends and all that. But okay, and this is not from me. This is actually from articles. They are saying that employees are now looking for more transactional relationships. That, hey, I'm going to give you X and you give me Y, and makes things very clear. We give them maximum flexibility and autonomy. We judge them on productivity. It's a fair day's pay for a fair day's work. It's a trust-based culture. See, what trust-based culture means is this, like for example, in my firm, it's a fact, you never ask for leave. If you want to go on leave, you take care of your work and you put into the shared calendar. And you never ask me for permission to go on leave. Increment policy, I will be asking you, how much increment do you want? And you tell me how much increment do you want. And you've got to justify it, right? And the most important is, don't say lah, do lah. Just do it. The more you say, oh, we are going to be so nice to you and all that, yeah, then you're just setting yourself up for failure lah. Right? So yeah, some of the lessons learned moving forward, we focus on people, both internal and external, with a very personalized approach. Some people want more flexibility, some people want more money, some people want more autonomy, some people want more guidance, and you can't really do a one-size-fits-all. We created process, standardize the processes. Yes, it applies to complex processes also. We put in the prelims is a kind of a construction terminology lah. Basically, the hardware, the software, we put it in to make sure that we are set up for it. And that's all I have to say. And I think I took less than 10 minutes. Okay, over to you, Eddie.
Hello. Okay, I'll stand. So when you let a practicing lawyer talk, then you know lah, the time management is gone. he should take 10 minutes, I should take 10 minutes. And now I only have 5 minutes. It's okay. No worry, no worry. Okay. Where's the remote? Okay, so when Kheng Ho starting telling about the story of COVID and how he went through, I also start recalling how my business went through. So something very different from Kheng Ho is that once we came into a COVID stage, my whole company can work absolutely fine from home. So we have been working from home for the past 2 years. And we only go in office twice a month. And the best thing is our revenue also go double. So actually this thing had really changed a lot of mindset. I was practicing in law firm and I never trusted work from home. So when I own a recruitment agency, I never practiced work from home. But because of COVID, things happen, we adjust ourselves and things work out very well. So now I think, when we call a lot of candidates, say, hey, we got a new job, whatever, first thing they ask, can this job work from home? It set a new conditions, new demand in the market. Okay, so today my topic is crisis-proof career. Crisis-proof your career. To me, in order to survive through challenging time and still keep your job and still do well in your job, for me, the main thing is creating value. Creating value is the best way. So when I say creating value, there are two aspects of it. So one aspect is, what are the values that you could bring to your employers? Or if you go for an interview, what kind of value you could show to your future employer that you can bring to them? So the question to ask is, what can I do that others can't? Why should my boss keep me or promote me than my colleagues? And have I progressed in my job? So all these are very important questions for us to ponder when you think that whether you give value to your company. So this is one aspect of it. A lot of employees don't see things that way, but I can tell you, all the employers see things this way. What value can you bring to my company? So how can I bring more value to my company? To bring more value to your company, you need to increase your own value first. Then only you can give. You cannot give something that you don't have. So if my value is only here, it's impossible for me to give my employer such a high value. So what I need to do is, I need to realize what is my value and constantly adding value on my personal growth. Then only I can bring more value to the company. So this is what this is an insight that I get when interviewing different candidates. In my life, I was a lawyer. Then about 14 years ago, I started this niche legal recruitment company. So I personally had interviewed more than thousands of lawyers. And I could see, some people, they work for 5 years, they're already here. And some people work for 5 years, they're still there. So I can see there are a lot of difference from where you are to where you want to be. So today, because of time constraint, I will just give 3 very practical so-called sharing or advice to young people. First thing is to be a specialist rather than generalist. Our pastor Sam Tiong, is it? Sam Tiong. So he is very smart. He chose to be a specialist doctor rather than a generalist. So people are willing to pay more for specialists. Why? Because it's very hard to get some specialized skill. And you may ask me, okay, for lawyer, you could have specialists like Kheng, he's specialized in construction law. Some people specialize in IP. But what about marketing person? What about sales person? Is there a way to specialize? Yes, definitely. So for example, my client come to me when they want to look for a business development person. Then they tell me, because they are law firm. So they say, I need someone who has experience in law firm. But if you don't have, what about people who work in professional service firm? So you can see specialization is very important because you are going to differentiate yourself to others, especially during your more senior years of career. When you are young, you come out, you learn everything. But I think after 3 years or so, you need to start thinking, how can you be a specialist? You could specialize we call it a practice area, or you could specialize in an industry. Yeah, just imagine if today I want to hire a head of department, I will hire someone who has solid experience in the same industry rather than I pick anyone else who is having the same practice. So specialization is very important. That really creates value for you. The other one, this is my favorite topic, is like, changing bosses is very easy, but changing perception is so difficult. A lot of people come to me say, hey, Eddie, I want to look for a job, I want to change job. So the always very important question I ask them, why you want to leave your current job? So they start telling me there are challenges. They say, oh, my boss is control freak. I don't know whether it's Kheng employee, I don't know. My boss is this, my colleague is this, and I got difficult people to work with, all this. So I feel that a lot of people are too easy to give up nowadays when they face challenges, even though they know that we should not give up easily, but when they are in need, it's hard to do it. Only when we are able, as a senior, we are able to tell them that, hey, actually, you are facing challenges. And if you just need to change your perception towards things, you could do it. So they need that kind of encouragement. So I would advise people not to change job for less than 2 or 3 years, unless the company is doing something that totally against your values. Otherwise, it's bound to have challenges. It bound to have difficult stakeholder to manage in any company that you go. There's no perfect company. It's like there's no perfect church. As long as there are people, they are sinner, and people are not perfect. So, first year when you go into a job, why I say 2 to 3 years? First year you go into a job, you are start learning the rope. Second year, you start knowing a bit more about the industry. Then only third year, you start mastering something a little bit. So if someone, change a job and tell me, oh, I changed job because I can't learn anything. And I say, hey, you have only been here for 1 year or less than 1 year or less than 2 years. You're telling me you cannot learn anything? Is that true? So employer will have that kind of mindset. So it's easy to quit. Like I say, it's very easy to quit. Just throw in the towel, but it's very hard to change your perception towards things because there are so many blind spots on us. And we only grow when we face challenges. That's a fact. We grow very fast when we face a lot of challenges. So challenges is good. Challenges is a blessing in disguise. Okay. The last one, not many people share about it, but this is another angle that I see things. When we start working or when we are young, we are like a technician. We are just doing some very technical work, a small part of things. And this is good because that is the foundation. So for example, if you are a lawyer, so when you first start out, you learn how to do your legal research. You learn how to do some basic thing, and you'll be very good in your legal research. You'll be very good in certain area, or even in conducting cases, you learn how to conduct your case or blah, blah, blah. But that is not enough. Being a technician is always not enough. You need to move yourself up to the value change that being a people manager. Company always will pay higher for people manager than a pure technician. Yeah, because being a people manager, you're sort of like a leader. You can lead a team to achieve greater productivity that a lot of technicians cannot do that. Technicians only can do their part, but a people manager, a leader who can assemble all the technicians and create a better value for the company. So be aware that when you, during your work, take opportunity to learn people skill, leadership skill. And, to progress from there, employer even willing to share profit with someone who is strategist. Strategist is someone who have very good thought process, someone who has vision, someone who can see things. It's a really great leaders. So my advice is try to assess yourself. Where are you now? Are you a technician? Are you a people manager? Are you already a strategist? And move towards this, aim to move towards this. So always think like a boss, because a boss is a good technician, is a good people manager, and also is a good strategist. That's why she's the boss. Yeah, of course, not all bosses have all this, but I'm talking about those really great leaders. Okay, let's make it quick. Okay, so just to recap, so the question we need to ask ourselves, what value can I create for the company? So the more valuable by creating more value, meaning you will be more valuable if you can create more value for the company. And in order to create more value, you have to ask, how can I increase my personal value through my jobs? A job is a blessing from God because we grow through our jobs. I never believed that someone not working, just sitting and relax, watching movies, serving that, and he can grow. I never believed in that. So a lot of people will say job is a chore, it's something very suffering, it's a punishment. No, not at all. Job is actually a blessing to human being. Be a specialist, be persistent, and be a leader. Okay, this is my last slide. Value increase. How can we increase our value? I think I like this Bible verse because you just imagine if someone is not humble, if someone is too ego, then he will say, I know everything, or I know better than you. And when he start having this sort of mindset, he will start learning. He will stop learning. He will stop learning. And when he stop learning, he will stop growing. When he stop growing, he will not achieve great success. In contrast, if someone is real humble, he will say, hey, I don't know everything. Hey, someone idea could be better than me. Why not I go and ask the person? Then when he start doing that, he actually start learning from other people. And when he start learning, he will grow and he will achieve greater success. So our Bible is very wisdomful. A lot of things in Bible is so applicable to every day of our job, what we do. Yeah. Okay. I think that's all. Feel free to reach out if you want to have any career talk. I mean, you want to have someone to bounce idea about your career. I'll be happy to share my insight. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, both speaker. I'd like to invite Kheng Ho to come back in front. Now we're going to have the Q&A session. So yeah, one can sit in the middle, one can sit inside. Okay, we're opening for the Q&A session. So to start the ball rolling, I thought of asking the first question. And this is for you, Kheng Ho. I remember going to lawyers' offices, you know, and my impression of lawyers' offices, they are like a dreadful place to be, with stacks of paper on the table, and searching for things is going to take so long. So I think it's an impressive job that your firm is able to digitalize things going on cloud and such. But then my question here is that what would be the more challenging part of your work? Would it be to handle the employees inside or the customers who seek legal advice from you?
I think the judge.
Oh, maybe you can elaborate, not just.
I think when the person is kind of made up their mind and you've got to persuade them otherwise. You've got to persuade them around their mental roadblocks. Employees, they kind of have no choice, right? They've got to listen to you, right? Clients can either sack you or you can sack them. But you can't really do very much with the fellow sitting there who has some powers over you. So, but of course, I love all the judges since we're on record, right? Yo.
Okay. Yes, anyone from the audience, and feel free from the Zoom audience as well. If you have questions, can just type them out, or you can raise your hand, come in front, and have your questions answered. And it doesn't have to be like today, because you're all like flexible. You can ask, like my next question also, sorry, just happened to be, you know, what would be the main reason somebody would come for your services, like seek a construction? What would be the main issue that someone would be normally?
They want to be paid. They've done the work, they've not paid, or they don't want to pay.
Want to pay? I want to get money, or cannot claim money? Oh.
Cannot claim money. Yeah, I'm sorry. I deal with very worldly stuff. All the defects, things falling off, discovering leakages. Because I'm doing all construction related, right? So, kind of that's what you're looking at, lah.
Defects. Claiming money. Okay. And then
nobody comes to me for self-improvement or how to be a strategist. Nobody comes to me for that, lah.
They come to you for financial improvement.
Okay. Next, I would ask Eddie for what is your advice? I mean, for new and upcoming lawyers and IT personnel, what would your like takeaway message be for those who are looking for, you know, in terms of their progression of career? What would be your one takeaway from not just the specialization, but what would be your advice?
Okay. Yeah. What would be my advice for young working adult?
Yes.
Yeah. I think for the first 3 years, don't go for money. Money, yes, money attach some value.
Boo.
Yeah, but if you focus on self-improvement and creating your value, money will come. Money just come, and this is more sustainable. I have candidates like changing job very frequently. I ask why, because every time the person change job, you will get 20% increment on the salary. If the person stay in the current job, you get 3 to 5% increment. Yeah. If the person is a support role, I'm talking about support role. But once you jump job, you get 20% at least. So this is very enticing. But you can do it 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. When the 3rd time your salary already at this level, and during interview, people ask you some very basic questions that you can't even answer. There's no way for you to command for that kind of salary. So you're setting out yourself for failure. So at the end, this person would be stagnant. Yeah. So this is my sincere advice. Don't look at money. Look at how you could increase your value. But of course, if a job pay you money and give you value, that's the best.
But that's advice is only valid if at least the basic level of money is achieved lah, right?
Like you say, you pay above minimum wages lah.
No,
right?
Minimum wage is too little lah for KL, to be honest, right? Minimum wage is real too little. But there must be some basic level of comfort. Then you can talk about, okay, I need to look at self-improvement. Before that, if you haven't reached that level of comfort, money is very important.
Agree. Because when we say money, what I meant is not so focused on the money alone. Like people give you 100 or 500, then you jump. Yeah. So that is what I mean. Money minded. It's too focused on the money. Yeah. And if you go to a company, and you could also see how the leader value or approach or perceive their staff by knowing how much salary they are giving. That is also an indication. So when you go for an interview, you can pick up that also. Yeah, that is one of the indication. Yeah, I know Kheng Ho pay above market rate. Okay.
Thank you. Yeah. You can introduce yourself.
Can you hear me? Yeah. So I'm Andrena. So I'm a work professional, but this question is more based on my observation. So I think with the whole COVID, I think you guys are aware a lot of industry got hit. Let's not talk about businesses. Let's say talk about the airlines, right? A lot of them lost their jobs. And then of course you have like your engineers where your oil and gas just crash, right? Where they lose their job. So I think question for you, since you're a recruiter, what if, let's say this person used to be like in an engineer field, and then he lost his job because oil and gas actually crashed at that point of time. So how would you advise this person, whether should that person switch careers to something else, or should he specialize? Because I think it comes to that crossroad where specialize is important, but if you can't find a job in that field, then how would you survive to get the money? I think same goes with like air stewardess. If they lose their job, especially now with airlines, that you won't exactly go back to normal, then how are they going to survive? Yeah, because I have friends that actually lost jobs and they have to just venture out, but they are still figuring out, I suppose. Yeah. So how would you advise?
Okay, very good question and very relevant questions. So to me, there are 2 types of indication about specialists. One is domain knowledge, that you are in the same industry for long. So you are sort of specialist in that industry. For example, an engineer who worked like 5 years, 6 years, 7 years in oil and gas industry. So that is one specialist. The other thing that a lot of people did not understand is, apart from domain knowledge, being a specialist, I call it is also like a functional skill. The skill that you pick up from that role, that could be transferable to another role. So for example, like your friend, so-called oil and gas engineer, I'm sure he has some skill set or technical skill set that is transferable to, I don't know, maybe life science industry. Life science industry may need engineer. Now the blooming industry is life science, pharmaceutical, logistic, or even logistic company. Also hiring engineer, e-commerce company hiring engineer. So I will advise that if the person has a good master of certain technical skill which is transferable, he can think about which industry that is easier to transfer the skill to. Then he can start from that industry and look out for the industry that is blooming because of pandemic. Look out for that. So that I don't know whether that answer your questions. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Sue. I have a question for Kheng Ho. Kheng Ho, you say that during the hard time, your business actually increased, triple. Can you share how you did it? Reason I asked this, I heard also during the crisis, many law firms were in a crisis and they were doing really badly and they have closed down. So I'm just curious to know how you manage that. What is your trade secret?
Maybe I'm just lucky because, for example, the conveyances had lots of issues, right? Land office was closed, stamp office was closed, people were not visiting houses or buying houses. I mean, in the pandemic, who was buying houses, right? I don't know, but I think the top end of the real estate market was still doing well. That's why Swiss is dressed up very nicely, because she says, "Oh, I deal with Telawi." Yeah, I got to pitch for you, Telawi, Tamantun, and PJ. That's Swiss. Okay, so anyway, yeah, I think unfortunately some of them couldn't overcome the macro of it. Of course, having but even those people could, like he says, there are transferable skills, and you could change. Also, okay, convincing is dead. Then what do you do? Convincing is no longer dead today, but convincing was dead for a while, right? So what then do you do? Well, I guess you got to change, right? Register trademarks, draft contracts, go into employment law, because people were being laid off and all that. So I guess you still had enough transferable skills to pivot, and I did not have to pivot because I had the business coming in, but I didn't have the cash coming in, right? Because everybody was having problems. Construction industry was having major problems, right? And when my partner is even better, right? Boardroom tussles. If you are fighting for a boardroom tussle, then it doesn't matter about the money, right? It doesn't matter whether pandemic or not, because the boardroom, the price is too good, right? The price is too good that you're willing to spend to fight it. So maybe we were somewhat lucky that we were positioned properly. But I imagine that if I was not positioned properly, I would have pivoted. And
yeah. I think this comes back to my point, being a specialist rather than generalist. Yeah, because a lot of lawyers go for so-called easy job, and that will commoditize the service. Then you have very, very little margin. And if something happened, you cannot make it. Yeah, so I saw a lot of convincing firm close down, merger, lay off. But now, they start calling me and say, hey, want to hire more because the business is back. Yeah. So the whole economy is on the uptrend now. Yeah.
Yes. Any other questions from online as well as physical service?
Are you a lawyer, Sue? No.
Any lawyers here? Oh, okay. So what is your thought, Kheng Ho? Like, okay, him, but he adds to your point. He elaborates further. So sometimes when I encounter dispute in my work as well, more often than not, I will get someone advising me, don't go and seek a lawyer, because from no issue, they will make an issue so that they can get a fee.
Yeah,
so
if you make Kheng Ho, that will be the case.
But the Bar Council had this recent campaign called Mediate First. So they are promoting mediation. Mediation is great, peacemaking. You know, it's about finding middle ground, finding reconciliation. Yes, it is not that popular right now, and because there are a lot of lawyers who do not understand the value of it. And yes, of course, it hurts our pocket in the short term to mediate, right? But that is a growing trend, and that's a growing trend in the world. Singapore has introduced a convention on mediation to make mediation settlement agreements to be enforceable internationally. They have put lots of resources into a Singapore mediation international mediation center, recruited people from the Hong Kong mediation center to come in. So it depends on which lawyer you choose lah. Choosing a lawyer is like choosing a husband lah. Choose the right one, and then you've got a good trip ahead, and choose the wrong one, then God bless you. You know, I mean, you got to choose the right person.
Okay. So how do we choose a good lawyer? Any
Choose a good employer.
employee?
You someone like him. Okay.
Anyway.
Yeah, I think it's important to have conversation with a lawyer before engaging him, and you try to ask some questions to see how he approached things, and from the way he approached things, you need to be very sensitive to pick out his value system. Yeah. So like you say, some lawyer would just make out issue when there's no issue. Some lawyer would just tell you, no, I don't think you have a case. You know, why not you save your money? If lawyer talk like that, yeah, it will earn my respect. Yeah. So it's important to have conversation and see how they approach things. Be sensitive to what how they approach things. Yeah.
I think you are asking, how do I deal with lawyers who scuttle my deal, right? I sell, and then they scuttle my deal.
Yeah, they are the one who confuse the different parties.
Do a Will Smith.
Oh, no, I think it's
Don't pick a litigation lawyer to do your sales and purchase agreement. Yeah.
I usually get a conveyancing one.
Yeah, and make sure they're experienced one, not the litigator become convincing lawyer. They will mess up your thing. Yeah.
Okay, that sums up the time we have today for the two speakers. I guess if you have further questions, do note that we have you can reach out to the speakers after this talk, or they have already left with us their contact details. So do feel free to reach out to them if you have further questions after this.
Thank you very much.
Thank you both for coming today.